me a little bit about how that started, kind of the growth that it's seen, and that kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. So we started just about 6 years ago. We're coming on our 6th year. And we started in downtown Salt Lake, right by the B Stadium was our first ever store. And I worked every shift and painted the building orange and created Thirst. And over the last 6 years, we've just been slowly growing and building a customer base and building a community. So we started with our downtown store. Our second location was actually in the Jazz Arena. So we have 2 locations inside the Jazz Arena. Then we opened one up on the University of Utah campus, and that was all of the first 2 to 3 years while we were just really kind of getting a base and gaining a little bit of popularity. Then we opened our Mill Creek store, which is our busiest store, up on 33rd South. Then we opened West Jordan, and this was in 2021. 2020 and 2021 was Mill Creek, West Jordan. And then we just opened Bountiful in Tooele over the last 6 months about. And now we're working on opening one out in St. George and then later this year. And so, yeah, we're running all over the place. We have a catering location. We have a bakery facility that creates all of our products and we ship them out to our own stores. We have locations in the Jazz Arena now. The Rio Tinto Arena. So we're in the Jazz and Rio Tinto. We have a food truck, and yeah, man, it's been a heck of a ride.
So when you started it, the first store over on 1300,
yeah,
did you expect this kind of growth, or what gave you the kind of hope that this would be a success, or what, were you just thinking one store?
The funny part was it was not busy at all. In fact, we lost money for a long time. It was a very slow, one customer at a time, win people over type of deal. And so it was the first 2 years no one really came. We weren't really popular. What kind of happened was Instagram was really popping off, and I really went all in on social media. I was posting 50 times a day. I was direct messaging every single person in Salt Lake on Instagram, offering them a coupon to come into Thirst and try it out. It was very, very, and still today, we've never hit a point where it's skyrocket quick. It's always been a slow train, and just hustling 24/7 and really winning customers over. So it's been a slow roll for sure, but it's made it so that I've had to figure out how to be a better entrepreneur. Nothing really there was no viral moment or anything. We just kind of built our skills, worked on our experience, worked on our menu, and we've slowly been growing. We never raised any money. We've done it all off the profit of the business, and so that's allowed us to have a good tempo where we're really learning as we go. So it's been good.
And so future plans, talking about going to, St. George, that's obviously the biggest jump from kind of the valley.
Yeah.
After that, I saw on the website, we're talking every country in the world, Disney. When did you switch from maybe we can have 5 or 6 locations in the valley to I want to be at Disneyland, Disney World?
Yeah. I think that the brand and the concept of what we're building, where it is now, is a modern day version of Sonic. It's a more relevant, cool version of what Sonic is, which is drinks and snacks and treats. I think there's a place for that in the world. I think no one's really nailed that the way that I think it can be done. And so we're more than just a soda shop. In fact, our number one selling item is fresh baked soft pretzels, which is contrary to popular belief, is that all we sell is soda, and this is really a thing that's just for Mormons. We've curated our menu to be that way, but also I think the Thirst as a brand and what I want to do with it, what we're doing with NFTs, what we do with marketing, we really just go all in on our branding. So whether that's content on social media, working with influencers, whatever it may be, I think it's a brand it's a Disneyland happiness type of brand. And I think it can definitely be everywhere. And I think the moment that I switched was when I realized, like, hey, our menu plus our brand is something that like can just truly be everywhere and will be loved by everyone. And so yeah, that's my ambition, is to build this thing everywhere. I'm focused on right now locking down Utah and really perfecting the model. I don't want to rush it. Like, one of the things I don't like is when businesses like find a little bit of success and then just expand really, really quickly. I've changed my business so much in the last 6 years. I want to really make sure it's done becoming what it is and get really good at it. I want to like Chick-fil-A style of operations with, you know, crumble popularity. Like, that's really what we want to hit. And once we hit that, I'm gonna grow throughout Utah and really try to nail that down. Probably open 10 to 15 stores here in Utah total. And then when I'm done with that, I'll go and take on the rest of the country. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I think it's several years away, and I'm not even exactly sure how I want to do it, whether that's franchising or all corporate owned. Either way, I know I just want to continue to become more and more sought after, more popular as a brand, and then just get really good. Get really like quick lines, experiences that people are never forgetting, insanely good product. And so yeah, I want to do it the right way because I want to go all out.
Mm-hmm. And are you from Utah originally?
Yeah, so I grew up in till I was 11 in California, but most of my life since then has been spent here.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're fighting a kind of stereotype that it's just for Mormons with the business?
I mean, a little bit. Honestly, yeah, a little bit. It's like, it's funny because like Auntie Anne's, Wetzel's Pretzels, these are some of the biggest franchises in the world. And what do they sell? Lemonade and pretzels. That's the only thing that they sell. Or you look at Sonic. Sonic is literally a drink shop. And it's, so it's funny, but you know, honestly, we also embrace it. Like, I'm stoked about it. Like, yeah, we sell drinks and it's a really, really good experience. So I kind of combination of embracing it, but also setting ourselves up with like, we invest a ton in being more than just cold cookies and soda. Like a lot of the soda concept started with. So we have full restaurants where we're making beignets, fresh baked soft pretzels, a new weekend feature every weekend, to really get our foot in the door for being more than just a soda shop. So yeah, we work hard for it.
Mm-hmm. So I guess let's talk a little bit now about the kind of NFT idea. You talked about embracing Instagram and kind of what that did for your company and kind of being innovative. What kind of gave you the idea of kind of moving into NFTs and like thinking like this would be a good idea for you and the customer?
Yeah, well, I think because of the massive utility and long-term value that a customer can get out of it. I think the craziest part about NFTs is that it's such a win-win the way that we're setting it up for Thirst customers, for us as a business and the customer. And I always just think that's a huge win. Like, when someone can get insane amount of value and I can make a lot of money on it as a business, like that's all usually a good strategy. So that started to click in my head, and I've seen other projects being done. I've dabbled in them, but I've never seen someone like put a real world piece of utility that's like so tangible. What I saw though was I have people come through my drive-through every single day spending a lot of money, plus the fact that I'm trying to build this brand of Thirst, which is more than just a soda shop. It's you feel a certain way when you come there. You mentioned them on your Instagram story and they responded to you. Like, I'm building a brand of Thirst, and I'm like, okay, what if I can mesh those two together where I can save customers a lot of money and also I can go deeper with a brand touch point with them. And it's really what NFTs are doing for me. They're creating a digital Thirst card that my customers can own, and if they own it, they get extreme discounts and free product at the stores. Plus, they literally own a card of my business. It's a massive brand touch point, something they're talking about with their friends and at the dinner table, And, it's also potentially the first NFT that a lot of them have even owned. And so it's like having a playing card of my business, like a set of playing cards for my business. And it just so happens that by people owning them, they can save a ton of money and get a lot of free stuff. So it was just a huge win-win for the customer and me. And I just believe in it. I think it's a really cool technology, and it aligns with my vision of building a brand that's everywhere. Because imagine if Chick-fil-A, imagine if Chipotle had trading cards around their menu. Imagine if they were giving you just another thing to do and think about them for and remember them by. I think that's always a good move. And so, yeah, I kind of clicked the idea in my head with it and just went all in on it.
So, are you personally interested in NFTs, or just saw news articles about it, or what kind of put that in your brain?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've got some close buddies that have done some projects, but I'm not an investor in NFTs. I'm not like a Web3 connoisseur at all. I saw a piece of utility and applied it to my business in a different way than I think has been done. I think one of the hard things about NFTs right now that I'm running into already is that there's a cliche thought around NFTs, which is people making a project that's essentially worthless other than the hype and buildup of NFTs. They'll drop 10,000 pictures of something that really isn't anything after the customer buys it, and it's made for kind of a scammy notion, oh, these things are a scam, what's that even worth? And I get it. I actually agree with that. So I've seen that happening, but I think what's gonna start to come about is people like me that are using it for the actual utility of an NFT, not just kind of the hype of NFTs in general. And I think that's already starting to shift a little bit. And so I've seen it done other ways, and I was like, oh, I don't like that, but I think I can use that same technology to do it in a way more valuable way. And so, yeah, I got excited about it.
So a lot of people do see NFTs as just a money grab, oh, this is another way for this company to print money without really having to do anything.
Yeah.
Was there any thought of just not calling it an NFT and just because it wouldn't be the first company to print a lifetime access card or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
What specifically makes the NFT part valuable as opposed to just doing an all you can eat card or all you can drink card?
Yeah. I think a couple things. I think one is the resaleability of it. The fact that these things now, they can be resold, traded on a secondary market. And so that's huge value. You can buy something, use it for 2 years, get free drinks every day from Thirst, and then say you move away. You could potentially resell that for more than you bought it for. It turns in what's normally was an expense for this lifetime access card or this digital QR code or whatever an alternative would be into actually an asset. And as the company and the creator grows and the demand for this limited amount of NFTs grow, the value of your asset is growing. And that's a technology that hasn't existed before. It also creates the greatest customers of all time if you frame it that way. Because if you own one of my NFTs and there's a limited amount of them, and more and more people are starting to want them, you have interest in telling everyone about Thirst. You have interest in making the demand for these NFTs greater because that's your asset. And as Thirst gets more popular and we get more followers on Instagram because all of our NFT holders are talking about us all the time, and we become more and more sought after, that means the NFTs are going to be more and more sought after. And so it's our interest, it allows for people's interest to be aligned. And so the reason it's not just literally a physical card is because then it wouldn't be on the blockchain. And that with supply and demand creates a value of those NFTs that is resellable, or is just your literally you own an asset that's more and more valuable. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is a digital QR code or a lifetime access pass wouldn't create the greatest customers of all time, because it wouldn't make them want to go out and then promote Thirst. Like my NFT holders now want to make Thirst even more popular. They want to make the project more popular because that aligns with their interests.
So the Susan from Mill Creek, who's just buying this because she comes there every single day,
yep,
and eventually she's going to make her money back, isn't going to care about like this scarcity probably, but the Web3 kind of guru might be worried that like if this is successful, like the NFT guru who also happens to enjoy their sodas might feel like, what if you just print more NFTs, just like make more because all these sell out?
Yeah.
Is there like a promise of like this is it, or
that's kind of the fun part about NFTs is, first to answer the first part, I agree, and the way I'm pitching it is so much like, hey guys, this is literally a digital Thirst card that will save you money. Period. Like forget about the long-term nostalgic value, supply and demand type of value of this NFT. But I do think as NFTs become more of our daily lives, when Instagram integrates them into their platform, when people start understanding them in a way that's not like so futuristic, then that's going to come around. And I believe it was Sharon that we were talking about from Mill Creek or whoever it was. Like
it was
that.
Susan,
yeah. Susan from Mill Creek. Well, then she's going to start to understand that. And what sold her on it now was the actual utility value. What I think is going to sell her in the long term and is going to be icing on the cake for her is the fact that she just bought one of the first 5 collections of like this company that is now everywhere, and she was one of the very first OG supporters, and that's going to pay off huge for her. I think to answer the second part, I think that's one of the greatest part about NFTs is it's fully in control by the creator, right? So like today I can decide to I can decide that all NFT holders now get free merch once a month from Thirst. I can decide today that all NFT holders today get to skip the line. Don't wait in line today. If you're an NFT holder, show it, move to the front. I can also do something stupid, right? Like I can also cut the utility value. I can print 1 million more. I can release 1 million more NFTs, and just because I wanted to grab the money and take down the value of the overall project. Either way, good or bad, it's completely on me as the creator. And I think that's kind of one of the most liberating parts about it is like, if you trust me as an entrepreneur, if you like what you've seen, then this is a good investment for you, because this is 100% by the creator, for better or for worse. And so yeah, it's definitely a thing that could happen. I would never do it. The best part about this is the blockchain lasts forever. It's public. And with something like an NFT project, this is my reputation on the line, right? Like as a business person, if I go do something stupid with my NFT project, or the value of it in general is very much my reputation. And so I take that really seriously. I think the people that are buying one of these know that as well. I think they're the people that have seen me for 6 years every day on the Instagram stories, telling them about these great products they have. Then they come and get an amazing service, and so I think they trust me. And but yeah, I agree. That's one of the most liberating, fun parts about it, I think.
So obviously, like $400 to $800 is not cheap. But
yeah,
how did you kind of come to that price point? And kind of how loyal do you feel like your customers are that like spending $800 like pays off for them in the long run?
Yeah.
That's not like a minuscule amount of money. That's a lot of sodas, even if they sell for $6 or $7 or whatever it is.
100%. I think the first thing I did, the way I got all 3 of those prices, is I basically reverse engineered how much this was actually going to cost me. And I wanted everything to be, all 3 of the tiers, to be made back in a year's time of savings. And so I broke it all down and basically, assuming a customer comes X number of times per week, spanning an average sale of this, and their NFT is on average going to be worth this. And depending on if they have a silver or a gold rarity, how much percentage discounts they're going to get. That's how much in savings that is going to be a good win for them in just a year. And so that's the way I broke it down. I reverse engineered the math. I took real discounts and real fulfillment math into account, because this is like real money that we're talking about for me as a business too, right? Like, we're talking about a lifetime potentially. And without what I'm talking about is running this company for, the infinite future and delivering on this project. It's a lot of money, right? Like, it's a ton of money. And worst case, if NFTs tomorrow went out, like, I would still I need to fulfill these for forever. And so I think that's kind of where I came up with the cost is, how much is this going to save a customer? Let's make sure that's a good value, even if they just came for 1 year. And then number 2, let me make sure that I can fulfill this for forever and be okay. And then I think it's just icing on the cake, the fact that, these things are assets. Like, people can invest in them, use them for all that they are, and then in theory go and resell them on a secondary market when they're done with it. And so it's a pretty crazy concept. And I think the way I design the prices is based on how much money they're going to save.
So does the, like you said, like, you're not an NFT investor, but I'm sure you've seen that NFT prices and like volume traded is not at its highest point right now.
Yes.
Did that give you any cause for concern, like, with your timeline, or do you feel like it isn't really like that?
Yeah, definitely not, because, I think the biggest thing is I'm not selling to the crypto community. This is a project that is completely different than all the existing projects that I think are creating this bubble in the market that is right now crashing. I think what's going on with them is people are starting to realize that, oh yeah, like, this is crazy how much we're spending on these, and people are flipping these for millions of dollars. That actually doesn't make any sense. And so I think what's going to start to change is the real utility of an NFT and the things that you can do with it, the real benefits of it when, like, value is created with them, is going to start to rise to the top. And so honestly, I'm kind of excited about it a little bit, whereas yes, the NFT market is crashing. It's because all the projects are delivering zero value. And so let me show you this new way to do NFTs that's completely driven by bringing a lifetime of value for the customers that are buying it. And so yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a good moment though to be like, oh no, like, I know that that's happening. That's why I'm doing it so much differently. That's why I took into account nothing of how an existing NFT project is done and doing it a whole new way, because yeah, that's not working. Mm-hmm. And people are getting less excited about non-valuable NFTs.
Mm-hmm. So big companies are like pretty well versed in NFTs. Like, they've hired the NFT people. Like, they've released a lot of larger companies have released their own NFTs, but it seems like a time now where I've talked to a few like smaller, not necessarily like one like a one tiny store kind of company, but like smaller Utah businesses are getting into this. Have you seen any other examples of like a small business like yours that's kind of gotten into NFTs that's kind of been a model for success, or do you feel like you're kind of wading out into the water kind of alone here?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I think that I'll be a small part of this, but I think people are going to start to understand that this is the greatest connection with a customer of all time. And like, when there's something like that, like, that's going to be it's going to be the same, in my opinion, as having a social media account one day. Is, do you have an NFT project around your business? Because it allows people to be part of your business, creates the greatest customers of all time. Like, and so no, I haven't really seen it too much, and it's been interesting to kind of apply it to real numbers, right? Because like we're talking about we have 5 stores that are seeing a lot of customers every day, and to your point, these things are expensive. Like this is a real investment for anyone, and so it's been like, okay, like it was an idea. Now this is real business money that's being transacted, and we got to make sure it's done seriously and safely, right? Like, and the technology's there, and so I've been educating a lot, just posting about what this is, thinking of new ways to like pitch it. Like I call them digital thirst cards because that's what they are. Like we don't need to, like, we're using NFT technology to create a resellable, value-driven asset that's a digital thirst card. And so I think there's new ways that I can explain it that will kind of open people's eyes. I think when more things get integrated